Hello everyone and welcome to this webinar, PDF Without Bad Surprises. My name is Sarah Nietzschmann. I'm a product manager here at Callas Software, and today I want to talk about how you can effectively pre-flight your incoming PDF files with pdfToolbox and how pdfToolbox can help you to avoid bad surprises in your workflow. As you may know, this is the third and final webinar in our series. The first two webinars were presented by Dietrich von Seggern, our CEO, and David van Driesche, our Chief Evangelist. And in case you have missed them, let me just briefly summarize what they were about. So Dietrich talked about PDF standards and why you cannot afford to ignore them if you're working in prepress or PDF automation. And David focused more on the topic Preflight, why it is important to Preflight, and how Preflight tools and technology have evolved over the past 30 years. So both webinars are definitely worth checking out. They are uploaded on our YouTube channel, so the Callas YouTube channel, and you can rewatch it whenever you want. The main messages from both webinars were the following. Automation means standardization, and yes, Preflight remains relevant and necessary. And today's webinar will be a little bit different in comparison to these two, because we will take the theory from these two webinars and put it into practice. So that means I will show you a lot directly in pdfToolbox itself, and that means the webinar will be a combination of presentation and live demonstration. And by the end of the webinar, you will know how you can pre-flight your PDF files with pdfToolbox and what it is required to standardize and automate your workflows. If you have questions during the webinar, please feel free to put them into the question tab in the chat function, and we will address them after the webinar. So let's get started. When we talk about PDF, it is almost impossible not to talk about PDF standards. From the very beginning, Callas worked with standard organizations and also actively support industry standards in the Callas products. And a theory behind why standards are important and what standards exist have already been covered by Dietrich's webinar. But just to give you the basics, PDF itself is a standard. It is defined by the ISO 32000 standard, and the PDF format is very extensive and quite complex and can be used for many different purposes. And because of this complexity, over the years, several substandards have been developed from the general PDF standard. And these substandards are tailored to specific use cases. For example, PDF-A is the industry standard for archiving digital documents, PDF-UA for accessible documents, and there is the PDF-X standard that is for the graphic arts industry and which many of you are probably familiar with. So PDF-X was developed to ensure that PDF documents are suitable for printing. The standard specifies which elements are allowed in a print file and what is not allowed. For instance, videos or interactive content like comments are not allowed in a PDF-X file. And in addition, PDF-X ensures, of course, that all necessary components such as font and images are correctly embedded within the document. And over the time, several versions of the PDF-X standard have been introduced to keep up with the evolving demand of the printing industry. And the most common versions are PDF-X1A, PDF-X3, and PDF-X4. And just to let you know, this is of course not a complete list of all available PDF-X standards, but these three are really used in practice. So each of these PDF versions have different rules, what they allow and what they don't allow in a PDF file. PDF-X1A was released in 2001 and is the first PDF-X standard that was published. And it is based on the PDF version 1.4 and was designed to ensure predictable and consistent printing results. Therefore, it only supports CMYK and spot colors and no device-independent colors. Additionally, it does not allow transparency or layers, since these features were quite new at that time where the standard was published, and many printing systems and RIBs couldn't handle these features at that time. And that means that transparency in a PDF file must be flattened if you save the PDF. Yeah, and as the printing industry began moving towards more automated workflows, there was a need for also a pdfX standard that also supports RGB workflows. And in response, the pdfX3 standard was introduced, and this version also supports device-independent colors like LRB or profiled RGB. However, like pdfX1A, since it was released only 1 year after that, it still did not permit transparency or layers to maintain compliance with older systems. Yeah, and in 2008, the pdfX4 standard was released, and by this time, 2008, a few years went by. So the technology and the RIBs have evolved so that the pdfX standard was kind of a really big step forward, because it was the first pdfX standard that not only supports device-independent colors, but also transparency and layers. That means that no transparency flattening has to be done anymore. Okay, as you can see on the slide, a pdfX standard defines what it allows and what it does not allow in a PDF file. And to implement these kind of standards into a Preflight software, this is done by a so-called Preflight profile. And a Preflight profile is kind of a set of rules that specify what needs to be checked in a PDF file to make sure that it is compliant to a specific standard. And of course, Callas also translated these pdfX standards into Preflight profiles that already comes with pdfToolbox. So if you have a license for pdfToolbox, you can Preflight your PDF files against that. So let's just have a look into pdfToolbox, where you can find these profiles. So for my demonstration, I will always use the desktop version of pdfToolbox, and here you can see the interface. I already opened a PDF file here. And the first thing that I want to show you regarding pdfX is if a PDF file has already a pdfX standard embedded, you can see that directly here in the bottom. There is this patch that indicates what PDF standard is embedded, and next to it, it also says which output intent is embedded as well. And you can also double click on this patch, and if you can see pdfToolbox will bring up the result window. And here in my case, there were no problems found. That means that my PDF file is compliant with the PDF standard. But of course, there are different profiles related to pdfX. So where can you find these? You can open the profile window either here, clicking the profile icon, or you can also go to Tools and Profiles. And this will bring up the profile window, and here you can see you have a lot of predefined profiles already with pdfToolbox. But to find the profiles related to pdfX, you have to switch the library. And a library is kind of a collection of different profiles, checks and fix-ups. And we need the PDF standards library to prove or to Preflight against a pdfX standard. As you can see, this library has different groups of the substandards that I already showed in my slide. And here we have the pdfX group, where you can also see you have here all the different flavors of pdfX. What you can also see is that there are two different types of profiles. So you have one profile that verifies the compliance, and you have one that converts to a pdfX standard. So what does it mean? So verify means that pdfToolbox looks into the PDF file. It will run a few checks that are specified in there, and it will only return the result if the PDF file is compliant to the standard or not. You can also see it here. You only have the option to analyze a PDF file. Analyze and fix is not an option here. But if I select a convert to profile, you can see we have now both options. So analyze means pdfToolbox will only run the checks that are part of this profile. But here we also have fix up in a profile. And if you also want to modify your PDF file, for example, you don't have a valid pdfX file and you want to convert them to that standard, you can use the analyze and fix button. And maybe to show you how to analyze it, if you click on analyze, it will run the profile and give you the result. We already saw that result, so this is a compliant pdfX4 file. But if I run a compliance against pdfX1a, you can see that we will now have error messages because, of course, the PDF entry is wrong. We have a pdfX4 file and a pdfX1a entry is required for the standard. But here you can also see that we have an error message related to transparency. Yeah, and why is that? Maybe let's switch back to my presentation. As I said, it is a set of rules, and pdfX1a is kind of an old standard where transparency is not allowed. So every time you preflight a PDF file that has transparency, you will get an error message for that standard. And if you have transparency and want to use that old standard, that means the transparency needs to be flattened. If you're not aware what that process is, let me show you briefly with a really simple example how it works. So here we have three objects. We have a cyan, magenta and yellow object. They are transparent and they overlap each other. And where they overlap, the colors interact and you get a mix of red, green and blue. When you do transparency flattening, these transparent objects are broken down into multiple smaller opaque objects, so no transparency anymore, to simulate just the appearance of the transparency. And here, as a result, at the first glance, you maybe don't see any difference. But if you take a closer look, you will see here at the edges really thin white lines. And this is a really typical artifact of flattened files because the artwork is broken up into different objects. And in this example, the flattened version of the file has now 7 opaque objects. And as I said, the original had only 3 objects that were transparent. And for simple PDF files like this process is not a big deal. However, transparency flattening can lead to problems, especially with more complex PDF files. Here on my presentation slide, you can see a real-world PDF file that was sent to our support and that really caused problems in practice. And the original file, as you can see here, already had a huge number of objects, over 4,000. And after the transparency flattening, the file became much larger and more complex because many additional objects needed to be generated to simulate the transparency effects. And as you can see, the result is now over 20,000 objects in the PDF file, and the file size, of course, increased as well, really, really bad. Yeah, and maybe that demonstrates really good that transparency flattening is a really big modification to the PDF file, and it should be avoided whenever it is possible. And it should maybe only be used as a really last option if you have problems with your transparencies. But with today's technology, this should rarely be necessary, as modern systems, as I already said, can handle transparencies, and more modern pdfX standards like pdfX4 also supports these features. Yeah, so if you ask me what standard should I use, with the current state of technology, the best advice is to use pdfX4 whenever it is possible. As I said, it offers many advantages, especially when it comes to handling transparencies. Okay, so far so good. So you could think now, okay, I preflight all my PDF files against pdfX4 and I'm good to go. But unfortunately, that is not the case. So, of course, receiving a PDF file is a major improvement over receiving just a random PDF file, because it ensures like general stuff like the fonts are embedded, the images are embedded, and so on. However, it doesn't guarantee a file will meet requirements that are needed for a specific print product or market segment, since pdfX covers all printing processes and products. And maybe to demonstrate that a little bit better, let's take an example of two different print products. So on the one hand side, we have a large format billboard, and on the other hand, we have a magazine ad. And if we look to one specific requirement, a classic example is image resolution. And if we take these two print products, the billboard and the magazine ad, and we try to set up a general requirement for the minimum image resolution, what should that be? I mean, for a magazine ad, a image resolution around 150 to 300 ppi is required to make sure that the print quality is good enough. But for a billboard that you see just with a really big distance, and maybe you drive by with a car on a highway, so there is a resolution of 50 ppi or even less required. And as you can see, the requirements are completely different for different print products, and therefore it is impossible to cover these requirements in the general pdfX standard. And that also means that if I send a PDF file to a printer with, for example, an image that is really bad in resolution, for example, 5 ppi, it will be preflighted against pdfX, against a pdfX standard, and the file will be approved, and it will be a valid pdfX file because pdfX don't have requirements for image resolution. Okay, to address this gap, the so-called pdfX plus standards were developed. You may have heard from organizations like the Ghent Work Group or pdfX Ready, and these organizations create pdfX plus specification, which means specifications that are really tailored to a specific print product or market segment. And the specifications are built on top of pdfX. That means there is no conflict between these two approaches. Okay, so that means, and as you can see here in my graphic, there is a hierarchy in PDF standards. So as basis, we have the general PDF standard, then we have the pdfX standard to restrict it to a printing workflow, and then we have the pdfX plus standards that also kind of restrict the requirements to a specific use case. And maybe just in case you didn't hear about the Ghent Work Group, this is an international organization of vendors, users and developers from the graphic industry. And they create pdfX plus specifications, and the latest versions are already based on pdfX4, so the X standard that we also recommend. And the latest specifications were released in 2022 and include 34 different specifications for different print process and print products, for example, packaging, large format, and digital print. So if you ask me the question again, what standard should I use? I would recommend using the latest Ghent Work Group specifications. As said, they were released in 2022, which are already based on pdfX4. And of course, pdfToolbox provided predefined profiles that are based on these specifications. So let's have a look where you can find them in the product. So we are now in the PDF standards library because we wanted to validate against pdfX, but the Ghent Work Group profiles will be found in a different library, and you can find them in the prepress, color and transparency library. Here you can see you have 3 different groups of Ghent Work Group profiles, and the latest one is the first revision of the 2022 specifications, so I would recommend to use the latest ones. And here you can see you have like a really long list of different profiles suited for different use cases, as I said, for digital print, large format print, or for a magazine ad that only uses CMYK, for example. And here, if I selected one, you can also see the description of the profile, and it says that it is based on a GWG specification. And these specifications are really technical documents where the Gantt workgroup specified, in this use case magazine ads, what a PDF file should look like if you want to print an advertisement in a magazine. And you can see here you also have the option to analyze it, so only to run or to verify if it is compliant, but you can also analyze and fix. And fixes is something that is not part of the specification, so the Gantt workgroup only says what you should check about a PDF file. And the fixes is something that has been done on vendor side. So in our case, we in Callas software, we added fix-ups that are required to also make sure that a PDF file is in line with these Gantt workgroup specifications. So, and maybe just to keep that in mind, if I run the PDF X4 verification, no problems are found. But let's just select some PDF or some Gantt workgroup profile. I take this one, this is a more generic one. And if I say analyze, you will see that here I get error messages and warnings. And the messages are related to an insufficient image resolution. If I double click, you can also see it will be highlighted here in my preview. So this image has a too low image resolution. There are spot colors in my PDF file that are not allowed in this type of profile. And here's a warning that there is a small text, a small white text under 8 point. So that could cause issues with readability in the final print product. So that's why it is a warning. So you should check individually if that's okay for you or not. And as you can see, these are really important messages that I want to know about my PDF file. And I will only get these messages when I use pdfX Plus specifications. Okay, so let's talk about PDF Preflight. So if you want to standardize, you need to properly preflight your incoming PDF files. And almost all Preflight tools, including pdfToolbox, don't just detect issues, you also have the possibility to correct them. Think about the Preflight profiles that I just showed you. You have the option to just verify it or to also fix it. That means you can also run corrections on the PDF file and modify it. And this leads to a key decision for your workflow. So you have to think about if that is something you want to do, if you just want to check PDF files, or if you also want to take responsibility of fixing them. And there is, of course, no right or wrong answer. That really depends on business strategy. On the one hand, if you just check your PDF files, of course, you don't have the responsibility of the changes, but this will also have a downside. For example, you may lose customers who are unwilling or even unable to fix the files on their own, and especially when they know that maybe another printer will do it for them. Yeah, so this is a decision every company has to make for itself, but if you want to do it, or also if you just want to check, you have a lot of options in pdfToolbox. So for Preflight checks, pdfToolbox offers over 1,000 different check properties, allowing you to evaluate exactly what you need in a PDF file. And if fixing is something that you want to do, you have also here over 200 different correction types that you can configure the way you want. And it can be color corrections, it can be setting the PDF metadata, you can make corrections to the page, like adding bleed or scaling the page. You can fix font issues and so on, just to name some of the options. Yeah, and these options mean that you can create checks and fix-ups that are really tailored to your unique requirements. And if you come back to this graphic, this will add another layer to restrict even more and to address your own company-specific or job-specific requirements. And how this can be done, I will also show you in pdfToolbox. For that use case, I will add the same PDF file, but that is not a pdfX4 file right now. As you can see here, we don't have a patch, so no pdfX standard is embedded here. And if I run a Gantt workgroup profile, let's stay with the sheet CMYK profile, and if I say analyze and fix, and pdfToolbox will bring up the save as dialog, so I can save the result. And you will see in my result that pdfToolbox did already some fix-ups, so it converted it to pdfX4. As I said, these new standards are based on pdfX4, so here you have the badge again. And some of the error messages are still there. And why? Of course, bad image resolution can't be fixed automatically by a software. That's not possible. And also spot colors is still an error message because the profile don't have any fix-up that handles spot colors. So the Gantt workgroup didn't specify that. But if you want to do it, as I said, you can add your own fix-ups and checks on the basis of a Gantt workgroup profile to make more changes or check more things in your PDF file. And here you have, in the profile window, you have already a lot of predefined checks that you can include to these profiles. Same with the fix-ups. Of course, you can also, here in the menu, you can also create your own ones to configure it really the way you want. So I did that for a Gantt workgroup profile for this webinar. As you can see here, I used the same basis, so the sheet CMYK, and here in the menu you can duplicate the profile, and in this duplicate you can add whatever you want. And here in my case I added a convert spot to CMYK fix-up, and let me run this again. And as a result you can see that pdfToolbox will again run some fix-ups, and here you see it converted now all spot colors to CMYK, and this will left with, so we only have the image resolution error message and the small text left as Preflight result. And that is how you can add your own things to predefined profiles. Yeah, so maybe let's briefly summarize what I've talked about. So if you use a pdfX Plus as a base and clearly understand what additional rules are needed for a particular job or print product and how to integrate this to your Preflight, you will be one big step closer to automation. And of course, a fully automated workflow that is seamless, efficient and error-free is kind of the goal that everyone wants. But let's face it, no matter how good your automation is, it will never going to be 100% perfect. Because there will always be PDF files that fail your Preflight and that cannot be fixed automatically. And that's where manual inspection becomes essential. And pdfToolbox Desktop has a so-called visualizer technology that allows you to visually inspect a PDF file. And it gives you a detailed view of the PDF file, and you have different modes available that help you to really figure out where in your PDF you have an error and why the PDF file failed your quality control. So let me just show you where you can find the visualizer technology inside of pdfToolbox. To open it, you can go here over the View menu, and here you can already see the different visualizer modes. So let's just open the first one. You can see here, this is the ink coverage mode. And here you can set a ink limit that you need to be pre-flatted against. And here in the file, you can see that in these yellow areas, because we have here a heat map or a temperature scale. And yellow means that the ink is between 0 and 10% too high related to the ink limit that we set here. And the more red the sections will be, the more ink overrun you will have in the PDF file. And why is that good to know or good to have? Of course, you can check a PDF file against if the ink coverage is too high, but as a result, you will only get the information that it is too high or that it's not too high. And with this visualizer view, you can immediately see where in the file you have too much ink and if the file can be printed or if it should be adjusted. And as I said, here you have, of course, different modes. You also have the separation previews for CMYK. You also have the separation previews for spot colors, but we don't have any spot colors anymore since we converted them. We have an image resolution visualizer where you can also set a threshold, and all images that are below this threshold will also be highlighted. We already know from our pre-flight result that this image is too low, or the resolution is too low. Yeah, so it really gives you a lot of options, so it's really worth checking out and just to experiment a little bit more what you can do with that. What I also want to show you, because it's really helpful, is the inspect mode and the object inspector in there. So the object inspector is kind of context sensitive, so you can move over the PDF file and you can see whatever object I selected, I get here in my, on the right side, I get like properties regarding to this object. For example, I've selected here a text object, and now I have information about the font size, about the font name, and so on. So it's really informative to see what objects are in my PDF file and what are the properties of it. You can also here show the wireframe view to see how the PDF file is built. That can also be helpful. Or for example, you can hide all text objects in here. That's also a good option to see if I have real text in my PDF file, or maybe if my text is converted to outlines. So yeah, as I said, really powerful, and it's worth checking out and exploring. All right, so we've covered how to pre-flight incoming PDF file. Let's talk about the next step. How do you communicate these pre-flight results? And with pdfToolbox, you can create various types of pre-flight reports, each tailored to suit different needs. And let's take a closer look to the different options. So let's start with the PDF reports. If you want to share a pre-flight result with your customers or your team members, pdfToolbox allows you to create an HTML-based pre-flight report. And as you can see here on my slide, this is the default HTML template that already comes with pdfToolbox. So if you have a license for pdfToolbox, you can already create this kind of report in that look. But what is important is that it is built on HTML, means that you can fully customize it to your needs. So you can change the colors, you can add your company logo, and you can also decide what information you want to include in the report. And that is a really important topic, because in practice we often see that reports are rarely tailored to the specific needs of the people who are receiving them. Meaning your customer shouldn't probably not get the same result that you send to your pre-press experts, because there's just a different knowledge level. So let me show you how you can report Preflight results in different ways with pdfToolbox. Okay, to have to create a report, we need a Preflight result. So let's analyze this profile again. Here we have again our two messages, and here you have now the option to create a report. Yep. So if I click that, you can see the Save As dialog appears, and here you have the different report options that you can generate in pdfToolbox. And the one that is based on HTML is the one PDF report, and in brackets custom. So I select that. And here you see you have settings for this type of report. This one is, as I said, pdfToolbox comes with a predefined profile that you already saw in my on my presentation slide, and this is this one that you will also have in your version of pdfToolbox. If I open it, you can see there are different type of templates available in my version, because I created them. And this one, PDF reports with all optional pages, is a template that you can download for free on the Callas website. In the Callas help, you can find that. And that is something that's maybe worth mentioning, because you have the overview page that you already saw in my presentation, but you can add additional and optional content to this report to even provide more information about the PDF file. So let me run that. And you will see the result, how these optional pages will look like. So as I said, as a default, you get the overview page. Here you have the Preflight results with your arrow and warnings. You have document information, but additional to that, you can add, for example, spot color information. We don't have any spot colors. As I said, we already converted them. But if you have spot colors, here you will have color patches with the spot colors in your PDF file, and information about these spot colors, like the spot color name, the alternate color values, and so on. We also have a page information where you have the different dimensions of the page geometry boxes. We have an ink coverage page that lists the ink coverage per document and per page. We also have the ink amount heat map, so you already know that from the visualizer. So you can include these visualizer images to your report to communicate these information to your team, for example. And same with separation previews and the image resolution highlighting, and same with too small text or line objects. So as I said, this is optional, so you can include one page, you can include all pages, that is your decision. But of course, this type of report is really technical and provides a lot of information, and it shouldn't be sent out to your customer if you just want to say that the image resolution in the PDF file is too low, or that the text is maybe too small and they have to check it. So therefore, you should create a different kind of report that is suited to your customers. So let me show you how you can do it. And we will not change just the template. As I said, you can choose different templates, you can create them on your own. But I will also choose a different profile. So I did that on my own. As you can see, I also I duplicated the GWG profile, but I changed the language of the error messages in there. So if I analyze it again, you will see now I have the error message for the image resolution and the too small text, but it is a different text in here. And if I create a report here, we want to have the custom report that is based on HTML, and I will select now a different template. And what I also want to show you, because it's a really good option to highlight what is wrong in your PDF file, you have here the details option. And as you can see here, you can highlight the problems in your PDF file in different ways, for example, with transparent mask or by layers. I will just leave the transparent mask setting and will generate this report. And as a result, you can see first it completely looks different because we used a different template. You have now way less information and only focus on the important things that is relevant for your customers. And as you can see here, we have a really understandable arrow messages so that your customer really know what you're talking about and what the problems are. But let me just briefly open this report in Acrobat because, of course, most of your customers probably have that as a default PDF viewer. But what you can also see right now is that we have now some comments in there. And if I skip to the next slide, because of course here in the arrow message it also says see next page for more details. And if I skip to that page, you will see now I have a preview of my PDF file. And here you can see it will highlight by using transparent mask where in the PDF file the errors occur. So here, if we hover over it, you can see this is the image with the too low image resolution, and here is the text. So it's really easy for your customer to see what he needs to change in the PDF file so that it's ready to be printed. And maybe just for the sake of completeness, and if you want to integrate reports into an automated workflow, pdfToolbox also allows you to generate, of course, an XML report or a JSON report. And of course, these reports will also contain Preflight results and also additional information about the PDF file. Okay, so you know how you can check PDF files if it is compliant to a PDF standard, how to add job-specific requirements to a profile, and how you can report these results to someone. And that is a really good basis, but there is more to consider when you want to fully automate workflows. So let's see what else is possible beyond Preflight. So far, we only talked about static Preflight profiles. And with static, I mean profiles that have fixed values in it. But these profiles don't have to be static. So when you automate workflows, variables are kind of a must-have. Because I bet you don't want to create for every print product you offer in your print shop or for every format that you offer a different Preflight result, right? So let me give you an example. A customer orders a business card in your web shop, and because the order was placed online, there are already a lot of details, job-specific details about this order. And for example, you know how many pages the PDF file needs to have. If you want a single-sided business card or a double-sided business card, you know the dimension that the customer selected for this order. And with this information, pdfToolbox can use it from this order and automatically check the uploaded PDF file against these requirements. And the input for these variables can come from systems like a web-to-print solution or a MIS system that passes automatically the values into the Preflight profiles. So let me also show you really briefly how that looks like in pdfToolbox desktop. So as I said, you have here also the different or individual single checks. and I created 2 for this webinar. And you can see the difference here in the logo or in the icon. So the one Preflight check that has variables in it has 3 black dots in it. So this indicates if a profile or a fix-up or a check has variables in it. Let me run the static one first. So I will check if the PDF file is A4, and you can see here there were no problems found. As you can see here in the page dimensions, the PDF file is A4, so that's right. But if I run the one with the variables, you can see that pdfToolbox brings up the so-called Ask at Runtime dialog. And here I have already some default values that I specified in the check, but I can modify them the way I want. And if I run this now, pdfToolbox will check against these dynamic values that I just entered. And you can see here now we have an error message because the PDF file does not have the dimensions that I set in the variables. And of course, as I said, I use here pdfToolbox Desktop, that is for manually PDF preflighting. In practice, if you're using an automated version, these information for the variables will come from an external source like an MIS system or a web-to-print shop, for example. And there is one more thing that I want to show you that is possible in pdfToolbox. So in addition to Preflight profiles, you have also the possibility to create so-called process plans in pdfToolbox. And a process plan is a step-by-step instruction on what to do with a PDF file. And the steps inside of a single process plan can be single checks, it can be fix-ups, it can be process plans, it can be Preflight profiles, actions. With an action you can, for example, export pages to images, or you can do imposition with it. And based on the result of a step, the processing can stop, for example, or it can jump to a different step inside of the process plan. So with a process plan, you have really a lot of flexibility, and this is way more powerful than a single Preflight profile. So it's definitely worth checking out and maybe configure your own ones. So let me show you also this in pdfToolbox where you can find it. So the process plans you can find in the profile window. As you can see here, if I click the menu again, you can create your own profile process plan from scratch. Here you have the different steps that you can include in this process plan. But let me open a process plan that we already configured. So this is a process plan that creates a really complex and dynamic proof sheet for labels. And here you can see the process plan has different kinds of steps. So here we have fix-ups. Here is a variable step. So that is of course also possible to add variables to this process plan. And here you can see the conditional processing. So we have a Preflight check that checks if the PDF file is a portrait, and based on the Preflight result, it will process the file differently. As you can see here, there are 2 different directions, and here is the end of the process plan. I can also run this real quickly to show you that it's really powerful, but let me open a different file because, as I said, it's a proof sheet for label printing. And if I say analyze and fix and save that, you will see again the Ask at Runtime dialog. As I said, this will always appear in pdfToolbox Desktop to specify the variables manually. In the real world, you would feed these values from an external source, but let's just let them as it is. And you can see here, with one single process plan, you can create this complex proof sheet where you have really job-specific requirements like the file size, and the name of the file, the colors in the file. You also have order-specific informations like the quantity. You have some images, how the label will be printed on the paper roll. So I think that's a really good example to show what you can do with process plans. Okay, as we're nearing to the end of the webinar, let's briefly touch on how you can use and integrate pdfToolbox in your own workflows. So pdfToolbox comes in several product variants. As I already said, I used it during this webinar. We have pdfToolbox Desktop. This is for manual processing and for the profile creation to set up your specific profiles that you need for your workflows. And it can be used as a standalone application, the one that you saw in my webinar, but you can also use it as a plugin within Adobe Acrobat Pro. For automation, we have a server version which uses hot folders, kind of the most easiest way to automate your processes. For more advanced settings, we have the CLI version. This offers a command line functionality, and that plays really well with scripted environments and with focus switch. And the last option is the SDK, so the software development kit, if you want to have a library that you can integrate. And then it's also possible to become an OEM customer, to integrate the technology in your own applications and solutions. And here you have the options between the CLI, the SDK, or you can use pdfToolbox via REST API. Maybe just to give you an idea, here is a short selection of some of our OEM customers who have integrated the callas technology into their own solutions. And yeah, since we talk about integration, and maybe that's a good end to this webinar, I would like to show you two examples how pdfToolbox, how the technology can be integrated, for example, into a web portal to automatically check and edit PDF files. And of course, this is only one way how you can do it, and there are different ways to integrate the technology, but I think these two examples that I will show you give you a really good understanding how the technology can be used. And both examples were developed by our partner and distributor for Peace, just to mention that as well. Okay, I will open my web browser, as you can see here. So the first one, as you can see here, it is a artwork check. For labels, I can select the shape of the labels in that web portal. So for example, a circle. I can also specify how big my label or what dimension the label should be. And then I can upload a PDF file. And if you can see, within a few seconds, a customer that uploaded the PDF file will immediately get the Preflight result. And here you can also see it looks really nice. So you have the a preview of your PDF file. Here on the side you have the arrows and warnings. For example, the image resolution is too low. It will also highlight where in the PDF file that is the case. The artwork size is not correct. You can also see here that's a really easy language to understand. It also says how big your PDF file is and how big it should be. So yeah, I think that's a really good example how a Preflight in a upload portal can look like. And maybe kind of the same, but also different. Let me just also upload my PDF file to this portal, and this one will not check my PDF files. It will with this portal or with this solution, I can edit my PDF file. So I can rotate it after I uploaded it. I can move it wherever I want, or I can, for example, say, please fit my PDF file or scale it to the bleed box, so I have a required bleed now. And of course, this is now two separate things. So one is checking, one is uploading. But of course, you can also combine these two things. And just to give you some background, here pdfToolbox CLI is used in the background to perform all the automated tasks. And it is just combined with a really nice user interface.